Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this speaker from our Employee Values Conference. The purpose of the conference is to highlight the city's values of action, which, as you know, stands for achievement, creativity, teamwork, integrity, and ownership now. Each of our speakers emphasized one or more of these important values, what it means to them, and how we as city employees can live these values each day. The Values Conference is an investment in you, our employees. These wonderful speakers have much to share, and we knew their talks would be inspiring and enjoyable. Thanks to those who worked so hard to put on this conference. And now, on behalf of the City of Las Vegas, enjoy the speaker you've selected.
Mr. Murphy spoke to us last year at our first Values Conference, and his reputation obviously precedes him. He did a fantastic job and really motivated us, taught us some important skills, and he'll be teaching us today on the city's value of ownership. Now, he has over 30 years of experience in law enforcement. Started as a police officer, became a police chief. Now he's the coroner for Clark County. And despite working in a high-profile industry with death, intense pressure, and high emotions, he maintains a positive attitude. And just as he walks around, you can feel the energy that he radiates. Help me welcome Mr. Michael Murphy.
Good morning. I like that. I like it when you say good morning, I get good morning back. Thank you very much for that. It seems a little hot. Are we okay? Because I speak loud, so I don't want people to go, oh. Thank you very much. Is everybody doing okay this morning? You having a good conference so far? Feel like you're learning a lot? I want you to know these conferences are special, but every once in a while, as a public employee, you know, as we go through these processes, you know, you go, okay, what's the buzz for this year? Last year it was value this, and next year it's that. But it's important, and the reason it's important is because we want to continue to refocus our efforts because things have changed in government in the last few years. If you haven't noticed, oh, by the way, there is no PowerPoint. I've been asked about 22 times, do you have a PowerPoint? I was asked 9 times as I came through the door, where's your PowerPoint? Where's your PowerPoint? Where's your PowerPoint? There is no PowerPoint. I'm going naked today. Electronically, sweetheart. Because there's nobody who wants to see the other. So anyways, having said that, I want you to know that we're going to talk a little bit about values and some of my management tips, the things that have helped me out, you know, through my 40-plus years of public service. I started in government when I was 18, slid up to that government trough and went, this is a good place to be, right? Let's talk about that for just a minute. I am growing very weary of the villainization of public employees. I was in the legislature last session, as my first time as a lobbyist for Clark County. You know, over in Clark County, we don't have any money. I don't know about you guys over here, but we don't have any money. And so they decided that they were going to use internal folks to lobby. So they sent me up to the legislature last session to lobby. And that was a unique experience. The first month I was still trying to figure out where the bathroom was. I was kind of like the new kid in the new school. You know, I was going, can you help me with how to find something? You made a mistake sitting on the front row. I just want you to know. No, you're going to stay. Just stay right there. She just went, we can move. Yeah. No, I generally pick on people deep in the audience, so you're in good shape. But anyways, I went up there, and my first month was not very pleasant, to be honest with you. I was really struggling with it, because I was trying to kind of get a handle on what goes on at the legislature. And is there a clock around here somewhere? There's no. Wow. Okay, does somebody give me that 10-minute or 5-minute? Okay, good, because I'm going to mess that up if we don't talk about that. Okay, so anyways, I'm up at the legislature, and I'm trying to get my feet on the ground. And one of the first things that happened while I was up there, of course, remembering that there's no money, right? There's no money, and there was a lot of bloodletting last time. And of course there usually is every time, isn't there? Yeah. And so I'm up there, and all I heard about was public employees, government employees. You know, if it wasn't for them, we'd have money, Really? If it wasn't for us, wouldn't anything get done? Right? So I started talking about this villainization, and I said, why are we villainizing public employees? One person in particular, I won't mention the assemblyman's name. I'll just leave it at that. I worked with that particular person when he was in government. And then he went out on his own in the private sector and made a boatload of money. And then the bottom fell out. And then money wasn't so easy anymore. And all of a sudden now it was public employees are making too much. And I went, you wasn't saying that when you was racking about $1 million a year in. Now all of a sudden we're making too much. Well, I want you to know something. I'm not here to argue about salaries and unions and all that. So if you're thinking I'm getting ready to pick a fight there, I'm not. But I want to talk to you for a little bit about how we have come into this process of this villainization of public employees, and we've got to stop it. Now, we also have to own it. Because I got to tell you, if you've never called your own phone system or talked to somebody as an outside stakeholder, an external person coming into your system, do it. You're going to be surprised. Because the truth is, you don't always get treated well. And you're a member of the organization. Think about that when you're inside the system and you're making phone calls and talking to people and you're going, you do know I'm with the city, right? Yeah, you're going to have to call somebody else. That ain't my problem. Click. So we got to change that. So if we want people to quit villainizing us, so to speak, we have to quit being villains. Now, having said that, I'm not telling you you're all that way. No, I'm not telling you any of you are that way. That's a decision and a place you got to come to. But I'm going to say to you that as a county employee, one of the things we're starting to focus on now more than ever is customer service, and here's the reason why. As employees, our folks, all of our folks, are busted, broken, disgusted in some respects. Now that sounds like a negative message, and it's not. What I mean by that is, do you understand that in public service today, that before the big budget cuts, we were the lowest citizen to government employee ratio in the United States? Before the cuts. So when we made cuts, we even went lower. And we were already doing the jobs oftentimes in other government agencies where there are 3 and 4 people doing the job and there was only 1 before the cuts, and now it's like 6, 7, 8 people used to do the job and there's 1. And you're tired. And I get that. But I want you to know if you really want to be successful, you got to grab yourself by the straps, pull it up, and get busy. Because nobody's going to give you something if they don't feel like you have value. And that's what we're going to talk about today is value. And how you're going to guide your team or your organization or the people you're with and how you're going to keep them positive. In previous talks that I've had with you, we talked about you as the person and staying healthy and happy. Remember that? For those of you that came last time. And that's good. And you know, when you talk about the job we do, 14,454 deaths last year in Clark County, not that I count in the 8,060 square miles of Clark County. And our staff is happy and positive, and the turnover rate, excuse me, I'm addicted. Yeah, the electronics guys love that when they see it sit there because if it gets spilled and something happens, yeah. It's a bad thing. And so, not that I count those, yes I do, but the point is, our employee turnover is very, very small. Why is that? They work with some of the worst things you can see. If you've watched the news recently, you know that there's been some really tough times. You know, nationally and locally. Night before last, I was out till about 2 o'clock in the morning on this triple homicide with the gentleman who tried to kill himself, and he's still in the hospital, and killed the dog too, I might add. That's always kind of unique. People, and you know what? My office is very strange. They'll go, really? He killed everybody? Yeah. You go, he killed the dog. He killed the dog? I mean, it's just, you know, I'm not trying to make light of somebody's situation, but I just want you to know when it comes to animals and kids, of course, but I mean people just go, and the dog? You know, so anyway. So my point of all this is I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're at right now. And so my question to you, this is a little more interactive, that's why there's no PowerPoint. People kind of, I get close and they go, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me, oh, please don't pick me. Hi. How you doing? Good. I shook a hand in a thing yesterday, in a presentation I was doing yesterday, and as soon as I got done, you could see the guy go, "Oh, man." And I went, "I have hand sanitizer," and he said, I hope so. So anyway, where was I at? I had just like a brain thing. I just went somewhere. Okay, so does anybody think that the crisis is over? This financial crisis we're in is over? I don't think it is, but I'm going to tell you, I think we've got our toes on the bottom. Do you understand what I mean by that? Have you ever been in the pool and you keep going down into the deep end and the water gets higher and higher, and then finally you can kind of have your toes bouncing on the bottom and you're like still above water and you're breathing and you're going, "I'm good, I'm cool, I'm good, I'm good." I think that's where we're at. Now, I'm not an economist, so don't take my word for it. But I think we really are about there. I think we're going to start to make a turn, and I think you should be complimented for the work that you've done and for holding on. So give yourselves a hand. Now, having said that, I got to tell you, when I say it's not over, it isn't over. But we're touching it. And that's a good thing. Do you know that if you had this particular government organization, or in the state of Nevada, and I want to remind you that 47.6% of all statistics are made up on the spot, if the state of Nevada government was in Utah, Colorado, or Kansas, we would have between 2, 3, or 5 times the amount of government employees that this place has. Think about that. Because why is that? Because we've always said we'll work smarter if you'll pay us more. So I just want to remind you that we put ourselves where we're at, and I like that, by the way. I like my paycheck, so please don't mistake what I'm telling you. But it means we are going to have to work different. I was in a department head meeting a couple of years ago, and there's 38 department heads. And you know, it's a very unique situation over there because we have appointeds and electeds. And let me give you an example of my thought of the difference of the two. No offense to any of the electeds in the room. I run for office every other Tuesday at commission meeting because I'm appointed. When I was a police chief, I ran every other Tuesday night at city council meeting, meaning at any given moment they could go, "It's been nice knowing you. Good service. See you later." So it makes you think hard about the decisions you make. As an elected, I would only run when? Every 2 or 4 years, whatever the case may be. And so it's a little different. So I'm in this meeting, and half of us are appointed and half are elected, and this is what I heard from almost everybody when we were going through the budget cuts. "Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, there's problems. Oh, we're in trouble." And some of the electeds were going, "I ain't cutting my budget. They can cut their budget. I ain't cutting my budget." Now, I said, had I been the county manager at that particular time, not about the electeds, but about the appointed, because you can't get rid of the elected. If somebody said to me, "I ain't cutting my budget," my first statement to that department head would have been, "Excuse me, how much do you make? How much was that of the budget? 0.4%? I just cut it 0.4%. Have a nice day." And some of you went, "Ooh." Here's what I said in that meeting, and it was not necessarily popular. We are all, at this point, at this time, exactly where we need to be to get the job done we need to do. This is why we've been given the pay we've been given and the responsibility that we have, and the people that work for us and with us are counting on us to do a job. It's time to step up or step out. And people looked at me like I had a third head or something, you know, like I had one here, and people are going, "Arr!" I mean, I was shocked that they thought that was a bad thing. And I went, isn't that why we're here? Isn't that why we're leaders? Isn't that why we picked the job? I mean, this puts me to this point for just a moment. It's getting real quiet in here. I'm hearing some coughs. That must be a bad thing. How long have you worked for the city, sir?
6 years.
6 years. Did anyone come and grab you off the street and make you take this job?
No.
Did you apply for the job?
Yes.
Okay. Was anybody in here recruited by gunpoint? Anyone? I wasn't. I want you to know I fought for the job that I have. Competed against 50 other people. Was excited to go, I got the job. And then now all of a sudden there's bad times and I'm going to go, I got the job. Do you see where I'm going with this? So it's a matter of attitude is what I'm trying to tell you. And you know, you hear this, you know, you got to have an attitude of gratitude. But I want you to know, I'm not trying to villainize anybody. I'm not trying to push unions down and bring management up. I'm trying to bring us together and remind you that you're here because you want to be. Now, some of you might be in a position where you go, I'm not necessarily where I want to be at this moment, but I do want to be here. Meaning that you might not be in the exact position you want, because I understand that as we made budget cuts, people got shifted to positions and things, and you know what? When it was all said and done, some folks went, I'm not doing what I want, but I'm glad I still got a job. I'd like to remind you of that. And I'm grateful for that. So, we're on the bottom, we're touching it, now what are we going to do? There's some challenges ahead, and you need to be prepared for that. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to do. So I told these department heads, quit complaining. I have a picture, a thing in my office, and it says, I think it's Mary Louise Alcott is the person that says this. I am not afraid of storms because I have learned to sail my ship. There's not a person in here, if you've been with the city for any length of time at all, that doesn't know how to do the job. Now the question is, can you do it, and can you stay positive and motivated and get after it? And we've got to have better customer service so we get away from this villainization of the city, of government employees. And we have to change the way we think. Let me give you an example. I'm not going to talk about the city. I'm going to talk bad about my own place. Well, not my place, the people next door. I went over at one point to a county building. I'll just say it this way. And it's near my office, public administrator. Nice gentleman, happens to be elected, but nice gentleman. On the door of their office, up until recently when I started talking about this, I just think this is hilarious. They had a sign that said, we are not the coroner's office, we are not the health department, we are not Valley Hospital, we are not this, we are not that, we are not the parking lot for, we are not social services, we are not IT. If you're looking for any of those, this is not the building. Wow. I went, really? So, at our office, as a result of seeing that, I said, let's put a sign up that says, we're everything for everybody. And they went, we can't do that. I said, okay. So I said, let's do this. We had a staff member who had a little bit of background in drawing, and they created a map, and the map was of about a 4-block area. And it includes Valley Hospital, the health department, IT, public administrator, public guardian, all the different places that are on our campus and surrounding stuff. And it had a little X that says, you are here. And when people walk in the door now and they go, hi, is this the health department? We go, it is not. But let me show you where it is. Here's a map. We'll walk you right to the door. It's right across over there. Or we say now it's been relocated up to Valley View and whatever it is. We have a little map for that. Why did we do that? We did it because we're in the business of serving people. Not just those who are dead. Because I want you to know we have 100% customer service satisfaction. I've asked. So I want you to think about it, Mike. And the reason I'm trying to get you to rethink for a moment is if you're going to bring your folks together and get a job done, my question to you is, do they have a clear understanding? Do the people you work with, for, and are a part, the groups you're a part of, do we have a clear understanding that we serve the public and that they are our bosses and that if we treat them poorly, they will remember and they will be vocal and we will pay a price for it? So I just want you to remember that as you're going forth in your processes, and I want you to remember that the worst thing you can do is go, I get these phone calls all the time. Is this a DA's office? No, you've reached the coroner. Okay, but let me transfer you. I'm not very good at transfer, by the way, so I always give them the number also, right? I always go, here's the number in case I mess this up because I'm not good at it. But I always give them the number. But usually when I go, this is the coroner's office, they go, click. So that transfer works excellent. But anyway. So, all right, let me ask you this question. I've got your little values here. I've got things written for all of them, so we're going to move on. Here's my question to you. You're a part of a work group and you need to get people to achieve. How do you do it? How do you get people to achieve? If I could make that cricket sound on my phone, I would do that right now. Set examples. Excellent. That's one of the first ones. Does this work when it's back here? That's one of the first ones. The first one is you have to set a good example. Would you agree with that? Absolutely. If you're not doing what you need to do, I can guarantee you anybody around you is going to go, he wants me to do it, he ain't doing it. Right? Isn't it almost like with your kids? When you go to one of the kids and you go, don't do as I do, do as I say. I've never used that, I swear. Maybe occasionally. We only have Moose at home now. It's fun. You know, all we got to do is get him up, feed him, and push him out the door. That's what happens when they get to that age. Anyways, so we have to set an example. Would everybody agree with that? You got to set an example. My next question to you is, can you motivate people? I just heard a no. Thank you. Does anybody disagree with that? Because I want you to know there's two schools of thought. Don't everybody just agree with him? Two schools of thought. One is, yes, you can motivate people. I saw a hand up right here. Yes, sir?
Provide incentives.
Okay, incentives. What's the greatest incentive? While we're here, because this is why I didn't use a PowerPoint, because I want to interact with people today. While we're here, let's talk about the greatest incentive. Does anybody know what the greatest incentive is? I just heard money. Bull. I want you to know, now money's good. I'm not anti anything. I know you want money. Please don't mistake it. But you know what? When you give me money, I forget it pretty quick. You're going to go, look at that. He just went, I don't. Greatest incentive. Anybody? I'm sorry? Recognition. I'm going to even break it down more simply for you. It's been proven statistically through a lot of studies that the greatest recognition you can give someone is thank you. A straightforward, no bull, look in the eyes, thank you for what you do. Now, you're going to go, that ain't going to feed my family. Please don't mistake what I'm saying. But I'm telling you that we're talking about how do you get your work group, the people around you, to work and to succeed and to want to work for you and to want to go that extra mile and to have good customer service. How do we do it? One of the things we got to do is we got to motivate people. This gentleman says you can't motivate people. He said you create an environment. Right? And I want you to know, I don't care which school of thought you go with. Whether you think you motivate people or you create an environment for motivation, the key is that we get people going in the direction we want. Now, is everybody the same? Negative. I mean, many of you in this room don't have a beautiful head because evidently you cover it up with hair. Told you I'd embarrass you. Seriously, we are not all the same. What motivates one person does not motivate another. People ask me all the time, what one book would you recommend I read about management? There's a million different books, but let me give you some ideas and some things as a supervisor, as a leader, just as a group leader that you might want to look at. I've always said, read the 1 Minute Manager, and people go, really? That's a really old book. I'm going to give you the cliff notes for 1 Minute Manager. You ready? You don't really get to stand at the window with your hands in your pockets wondering what to do. You should have a list that says, you know, the things you want to accomplish. In the old days, we carried around Franklin planners, by the way. Remember those days? And you had the A, B, and the C list, and we went along and went, got my planner. Going along good. Everything's great today. Oh, you have a task for me? What is that task? I'm going to give that a B. So that means I probably won't touch it today or tomorrow or next week, but I'll get to it, I swear. And then about 2 weeks later, I move it to a C and I'm done, you know. For those of you that remember Franklin planners. But back to this whole 1-minute manager. This is the one thing I think you want to remember about the 1-minute manager. When you're dealing with folks, we praise them in public, we correct them privately, but most importantly, we always end on a positive note, but we give them true input, both negative if we need to and positive, but we always end on a positive note. That's the 1-minute manager, right? So back to this potential, how we get people to do what we want. The other thing I'm going to tell you is if you were going to take one course in college that I think would be a college course that I think would be good for you, and I always get a lot of looks when I say this one, I recommend you go to a marketing class. You see the looks? A couple of people. Hello. Sorry, I was going to turn this phone off. Let me explain to you why I think a marketing class would be important. Everything you do every day with work groups, with fellow employees, with people, with family, is selling something. You're selling you, or your idea, or your concept, with people above you, people below you, and people around you. So I would recommend, honestly, that you get a marketing class, because it helps you. The other thing I'd say you should do is public speaking. And people go, oh, I'm very uncomfortable with that. I don't want to do public speaking. That's more the reason why you should do it. And here's the reason why. Because when you're standing in front of a group of 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, the city council, I don't care who it is, you're selling something and you're speaking in public, even when it's just a small group. You'd be surprised how it helps you bring your thoughts together and make things happen. So we're going to motivate people, or we're going to create an air of motivation. Let's get philosophical again. If I took this thing and it was completely full of liquid, or actually it was only full to this point, right? It's only full to this point. Is it half full or half empty? Half full. All the optimists in the room go, half full, right? Right, okay. And usually they say that because they know that's what you want them to say. I'm not saying that about you, but you know that's not about you. Okay. Half full or half empty? Anybody say it's half empty? Come on, let's see some real true people here. Half empty, half empty, half empty, half empty. Thank you. Does that make you a pessimist? No, it could make you a realist. I did this presentation one time. I'm talking about half full and half empty, and somebody raised their hand and go, I don't have enough information. What? I don't have enough information. Well, what information do you need? Well, and this is what this young person said to me. Has someone drank from it and emptied half of it? Now it's half full. Or did someone just, or half empty, I should say, or did someone just pour half the fluid into it so it's half full? And I went, you're kind of a smarty, aren't you? But I want you to know, here's the surprise, folks. Young people think differently than somebody my age. And this would be my next recommendation to you. We have a different workforce now than we've ever had before. And you need to make sure that the folks that you're working with, especially those young folks, that we're developing their interpersonal skills, because they are sorely lacking. I'm sorry for you young folks in the room, but really. Okay? And here's the reason why. Let me see if I can give you an example. I'll be with you in a moment. Now, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Am I wrong? I have an employee who works for me, young person, we refer to them as cutters, but they're actually forensic technicians. And we have a morning, yeah, I know cutter sounds so cruel. But that's what they do. So she comes to morning meeting. It's kind of like a roll call. We meet every morning, and we go over the cases, what doctor's going to get, what autopsy. So she's almost like a scrub nurse. She actually does the work for the doctor. And the whole time she's in there, she's texting. And one day I went, I mean no disrespect to you, young lady, but why do you come to the meeting? She's not really required to be there. And she went, well, why would you say that? I said, because you spend the whole time texting. And she went, oh, I'm actually sending information to the text in the back about who's getting assigned what case. And I went, oh, I don't know if it was true, but it sounded great. And the reason I think we should be teaching our folks interpersonal skills is because if we're going to work together and achieve and reach heights, new heights, we better get better at talking to folks. Now, let me give you a personal example. She's going to kill me. Let me give you a personal example. I have a young man who lives in my house, my stepson. It's our youngest, last one. He's 18. We call him Moose. I call him Moose. She calls him Anthony or something. I don't know. Anyways, I want you to know Moose is a great kid, but he grew a foot in a year, and he went from a size 8 to a size 12 shoe in like a year and a half. Yeah, it was tough to clothe and feed that kid. It really was. And I'm not supposed to tell this, but I always do. He got stretch marks when he grew so fast. It was hilarious. Anyways, you know, and he's like complaining his legs hurt, and I'm going, you're growing. And clearly, he's not for my loins because he's like getting tall. So anyway, my point of telling you this is I'm coming home from the lake one day, and I'm going to go out to Bass Pro. Some of the folks in the room would go, yeah, that's a good place to go, right? I'm going to go make a little stop at Bass Pro. So I call Moose on the phone. This is before you couldn't call and drive, right? I call Moose on the phone, and I go, and I call the house. I get ring, 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 ring. Hi, you've reached the Murphys. I call him on cell phone. Ring, 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 ring. And he had this message that used to drive me crazy. He'd go, hello, hello, hello. And I'm like, Anthony? He'd go, hello, Anthony? And he'd go, leave a message. I go, so I call that one, I get zip. I get zippity-doo-dah, right? So I continue to call, he doesn't answer. I get home, he's sitting on the couch in front of the TV, cell phone in his lap, playing a video game, occasionally texting, and I went, dude. And he goes, yeah, I'm really too old to use dude, but I do. And I go, did you hear the house phone ring? And he goes, yeah, I don't answer that. I said, did you hear your cell phone ring? He said, yeah, we don't talk on a cell phone. I went, what? He said, yeah, if you want to get me, you need to text me. I'd like you to know we have since had the ceiling repaired where I launched myself into orbit, a dimension of upset that you wouldn't believe. And I said to him, I was trying to see if you wanted to go to, I'd love to go to Bass Pro. I said, well, had you answered the phone? He said, I don't answer the phone, I text. I said two things. I said, the first one is, from now on, since I'm involved in your phone, when you see that it's me calling, you might want to answer that phone. Or we're either going to be using your phone as a boat anchor or a suppository. Now, my point of telling you all that is, was he doing anything wrong? No, in reality, yeah, he should have answered the phone, okay? But, he's a good kid. He's doing the right thing. But that's his generation, and every generation does something different, and every generation has some things that are different, and we've got to deal with that in our workforce. So if we're going to achieve, we need to make sure that we're communicating. So it's not just about getting them to be more communicative. It's about us learning to communicate to them also and being more accepting of some of these changes. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay. I'm going to move on. We've talked about the power. Thank you. Let's talk about creativity for a minute. Where does creativity come from? Have you ever noticed that sometimes you're more creative at different times during the day than others? Anybody want to share when that is? Morning. Is it morning for you? Yeah, it is for me, actually. Usually it's while I'm driving, which is not good. Because then I want to write the note down because I'm afraid I'm going to forget it. Is anybody good in the afternoon? All right, good, because I'm not. Literally I'm not. Now, about early evening, maybe on that drive time home, I start getting creative again. Showers. I know you didn't want to know that, but the showers. In the morning when I'm getting up and getting ready, I start thinking of things. So when we're talking about creativity, I want to tell you that one of the things that will make your work group, or that the people that you're dealing with the most creative, is for you to have diversity. The general feeling is that most people want to have everybody in their work group that's exactly like them. Bad mistake. I did that once. I was a police chief, and I surrounded myself with people just like me. We had some wonderful ideas, and we ran around sort of implementing them. Mostly it was, hey, we're going to go with this idea. Bunny. You know how many of me it takes to screw in a light bulb? Bicycle. I mean, I have problem focusing. So if I got everybody that's just like me, what do you think a meeting was like? Are you freaking kidding me? It was ugly. So, don't raise your hand. I'll almost guarantee you that everybody in this room knows somebody, or if you don't know someone, you might be them. Right? That every time you come up with an idea, it goes, oh, we can't do that. I think we should, oh, no, we can't do that. What about, no, we can't do that. I think, no, oh, no. I want that person on my work group. Years ago, I was too immature to understand that that's exactly the person I want. Because they make me think and rethink before I implement. You want a well-rounded group of people for creativity. From different backgrounds, different areas, different ways of thinking, because you know what? You get great ideas. And there are no bad ideas. There's just some better than others. I wouldn't recommend when you're in your creativity session, somebody goes, I think we could do that. That's stupid. Right? Doesn't work for your kids, not going to work for your employees either, right? So I'm just telling you, you want a diverse group. And you want to make sure that you're bringing everybody to the table. I'm the guy that goes, exit, whoa. The guy that goes, we can't do that, does this to me as I'm going along. We got an exit coming, you're not going to be able to do it, you're not going to be, and I make the exit. Do you see the difference? I don't miss the exit, I actually make the exit. The people that are telling me no are some of the people I want. Some of you in this room know a gentleman by the name of John Fudenberg. He's my assistant coroner. Great guy. One of my best management decisions. It makes some of the other people in my management team upset because they go, I thought I was. You are too. But I want you to know John's a great guy. But him and I are not alike. We think differently. He tells me no a lot. I fired him last week. He tells me no a lot. Here's the truth. I need to hear no. I believe that some of the, and I'm not trying to make myself powerful like Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson and people like that. But I believe that when people get really powerful, they don't hear no very often, and they kind of lose perspective. And so you need people that can honestly look at you and go, not a good idea. I'm not sure I'd do that. And that's what John does for me. Now, you have to also have that idea that when we go behind closed doors, he can tell me, you're full of it, buddy. And then I go, this is the direction we're going. And he goes, okay, here we go. And if you're not doing that, if you're not selling the company line, you're doing yourself and the company and your supervisors a disfavor. And here's the reason why. If you think you're endearing yourselves to employees by going, hey, listen, I want you to know, I don't believe in this policy they just gave us. I hate this policy they just gave us. But they're making us do it, so let's pretend. All that does is drive a bigger wedge in between you and your employees and the folks that you work with. If you don't understand it, get an answer. But the truth is, and this is a hard, cold truth and fact that you're not going to want to hear, but it's the truth. How dare us ask you to do a job in the manner in which we ask you to do it, in the way in which we want it to be done, for the money in which you agreed to accept? Now, if we need to make changes, then let's make those changes, and let's do them in an appropriate fashion. But the truth is, when we're talking about creativity, we're also talking about the idea that you have to have the ability to surround yourself with the right people. And the right people are not yes people. They are people that are willing to tell you the truth and at the same time are willing to ultimately work together in a direction. And everybody gets their opportunity to talk about it. Now, in some areas, fire, public safety, that kind of thing, you don't always, this isn't a democracy. A workplace is not a democracy. I'm sorry if you think it is. There are times when we can go, okay, let's all vote on what color we're going to make the break room. Right? But there are also times when we go, we got to deploy so many people on this side of the building and the place is on fire and da-da-da-da. That's not the time for somebody to go, you know, I think we should put an exhaust fan on the fire on that side. I think you're making a mistake. Now, I don't know anything about fire. I just, did a little voluntary thing one time. But I do know that if you don't do it correctly, people get hurt. Would I be correct about that? So there are times when you don't get to be Democrat. We don't get to have a vote about things all the time. We have leaders, and that's their job, is to lead. But we want your creativity, and if you want to foster it in others, you've got to show it, and you have to have a nice, diverse group. Everybody good with that? Okay. This is going to probably strike a nerve with somebody. I apologize. Oh, have I not already done that? In government, if we have a program and it's not working, kill it. Kill it now. Quit continuing to baby these things and powder them and try to make them successful when we all know they're not working. Or fix them or rethink them. But don't just let it go on. We are famous in government for creating a program and we roll it out and we go, yay, here's this great program. And then 6 months from now we go, this thing sucks. And what do we do with it? We keep it. We don't get rid of it, we keep it. Why? Because we don't want to admit that we failed or made a mistake? So, this is where I ask the next question. See how many people are willing to admit to this one. Is failure an option? I just heard no. I heard yes over here, no over here. That's good. I think it's good for us to have varying opinions. Is failure an option? In some instances, now I will tell you, in life-saving situations, failure is certainly not the option you're looking for. You're in the uniform. I figure I'll pick on you. But there are situations where certainly failure is not an option. I get that. But is failure an option generally as we're doing our work? Now people go, no, there's no room. We can't fail. People have to fail to succeed. Do you understand that? The only time failure is not an option is that if you look at failure and go, failure is a stop sign. Failure is a road directional sign. It says, don't do that again. And what is it that Einstein said is, what is it? Einstein says it's crazy. It's doing the same thing over and over. I'm going to paraphrase. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Right? The definition of insanity, thank you. I knew it was in there somewhere. See how groupthink works so well? So I want you to remember that failure is an option, and occasionally you got to take a program and go, this thing just isn't working. You want me to give you an example at the county? We had shopping carts for years. We picked up shopping carts. Somebody just went, ooh, yeah, we do that over here too. I'm not talking about the city. We picked up shopping carts for years, and it was because, and by the way, we have shopping carts in our neighborhood now. I hate it. I'm like, really? And they've done all these things to make sure they're not there, but the bottom line is we end up with them in our neighborhood. I hate it. But there are cart wranglers now. You can call private industry, and they'll come get them for you. So does the city really need to be doing that? I don't know. Maybe we could allocate those, or the county, I should say. Maybe we could allocate those resources somewhere else. But when I asked about it one time, they went, ooh. This was years ago. They went, ooh. Oh, you want to get rid of picking up shopping carts? I went, yep. And they went, ooh. That's Commissioner so-and-so's pet project. And I went, the one who went to jail. I know, I'm a little irreverent. I know, hey. But sometimes we got to take a project and go, ixnay, it ain't working. And rethink it and reallocate those resources. Do you see where I'm going with that? So while we're being creative, let's don't forget to rethink, is what I'm trying to say. Now, for those of you that are supervisors in the room and those of you that are in work groups and you make decisions, please, if you don't get anything else from today, this is my big thing for you. Pull the trigger. People are going, what does that mean? Make a decision. And for the other supervisors in the room, for those of you that are afraid to make a decision, make the decision. Quit calling me and asking me what you should do. And quit sending me emails, by the way, that goes, I'm going to make this decision if I don't hear from you within 24 hours. Do you really believe that we don't know that you're doing a dump job on us? I mean, seriously? That that's just a way to try to unload your responsibility? And if I got to make the decision for you, my next question is why I got you. No offense, but it's the truth. So make a decision, pull the trigger. Now, if you make a decision, it's a bad decision, don't be afraid to look at somebody and go, I made a decision, wasn't my best. Just wasn't my best. And you know what? The people around you and the supervisors and the people below you and the people that are with you, if you admit the mistake, they'll go, whoa, he or she is human. When I make a mistake, I want to admit it. Get it right out in the open with people and go, that was a bad decision. This ain't working. Let it go. And 99 times out of 100, 46.7% of all statistics are made up on the spot, people will be so impressed with the fact that you just admitted it, they'll go, okay, try not to do that again. They'll let it go. They don't even care. When I say they don't care, I mean they're not looking for a pound of flesh out of it. They just want to let it go. And on the emails, I took over juvenile justice for 6 months when they were in trouble a number of years ago. I was getting between 800 and 1,000 emails a day. I mean, the thing would like fill up and shut down. And I sent an email out to all of them and said, do not send me an email ever again. I will only accept emails from my direct reports. We have a chain of command, use it. And then I went out and started meeting with the staff in work groups at night, up on the mountain, wherever it was, and said, if we have issues, let's address those issues. But let's not do it by email because it doesn't serve a purpose. So, note to self, if you get an email from me that says anything more than cool, thanks, see me, got it, okay, I probably didn't write it. My secretary did. Because I don't like to communicate by email. There's too much that's lost in the process. Now let's talk about our employees and how to keep them more healthy and happy in doing projects. How many of you right now, if you don't want to raise your hand because you don't want to get, I don't want to be that guy, I don't want to be that person. How many of you right now have a project list that is more than you can accomplish? Oh, well, it's not bad then, never mind. Those of you that raise your hand, we'll see each other later, and I have some secret tips. The rest of you seem to be doing good. Remember when I told you we got all these less employees, but we still got all the work? There's a couple of things that have to happen. I'm sure the bosses aren't going to want to hear this one. Occasionally, we have to tell people that we've had to rethink or we're not able to do it as quickly as we used to because we don't have the same number of people. I get calls from the press all the time, and they go, we're running a story at 4 o'clock or at 5 o'clock, and we've got a 4:30 deadline, and we need to know how many people drowned last week or in the last 5 years that were under the age of 18. Before the budget cuts, I'd pick up the phone, call down to my PIO, the other end of the hall. Hey, listen, they got a 4:30 deadline. I need to know how many people under the age of 18 drowned the last 5 years. Be right back with you, boss. Click. 30 minutes later, come in with a nice report. I'd call the reporter. Everybody's happy. Now when I call down to the PIO, this is what happens. Ring, 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 ring. You should have texted me. No, I'm just kidding. The reason the phone rings, there is no PIO. During the budget cuts, we eliminated all of our middle management. We eliminated half of our first-line supervisors. And we just now do things differently. So when the press says, I need those, I go, we certainly can put those statistics together for you, but you need to understand it may be somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks. I need them by 4:30. I understand. I cannot provide you them by 4:30. Things have changed. That's the nature of business. Now let's talk about that stack list that you've got. If you want to make sure people get things done, the first thing you want to do is, if you can, let them set the deadline for you. Meaning, got a project, I'm going to talk to you about the project, I'm going to go, how long do you think it's going to take for you to get it done? 2 weeks, I'm going to put the deadline on it 2 weeks, I'm going to leave you alone 2 weeks from now, I'm going to come see you. Now, if you haven't got it done 2 weeks, you and I got a problem. Good? Now, I'm also going to tell you my other management secret, and that is that what I usually do is if I'm given a project and I have 2 weeks, I really like this one. You know this one. We've worked together for a long time. If I'm given 2 weeks, I usually give it to somebody else and tell them they have a week. Why is that? It is not because I believe that they're going to fail. It's because I may need a week to readjust it or have you do something else to it to tweak it. And that way I'm going to be on time. See, I was the kid in school that in the old days I walked up the day after the deadline and went, can I still turn in my paper? In the business world, that's not accepted. Now let's talk about that for a minute. What happens when you have a list? I see some very frowny faces here. What happens when you have a list like that and you've got 10 things on the list and I bring 2 more in and go, I'm not going to pick on you. I'm going to pick on you. And I bring 2 more in and I set them on your desk and I go, need those by Friday. And you've already got a list of 20 or 10 things you already have to do by Friday. Can you get them all done by Friday? Honestly. Okay. So how do you fix that and not go into conflict with the people that you work with, around, for, and as a part of? Anybody know? You got to prioritize. That's right. Remember that A, B, and C list? That little, got my little plan? You're going to have to prioritize. Can you do it on your own? Certainly you could. You could, but I just heard a note back there, because the truth is you have to communicate to the people you work for, with, and around and say, I've got 10, you just added 2, which one do you want done first? Because I can't do them all at once. Now, you could do what some people do, and I've done this. So now I got 12 projects going and ain't none of them getting done. But what we really need to do is refocus and say, where are we going with this and what has the priority? You see where I'm going? That's the way you're going to get work done. And that's the way you get things done and everybody's happy. But if in real estate, what's the 3 biggest words in real estate? Any real estate folks in here? Isn't it amazing people know that? So you got a $2 million house that sits in the middle of the worst part of town. How much is it worth? A little less, maybe? You can have a $200,000 house that sits in the nicest part of town, and how much is it worth? A whole bunch more, right? Location, location, location. The takeaway from this particular segment is this: communication, communication, communication. If you are not communicating, remember, different generations communicate in different ways. If you are not communicating, you are failing. Communication, communication, communication. You with me on that? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I'm supposed to make sure. I've been walking for years. Let's talk about teamwork. Now, we built our team. We got our diversity. Everything's going on. Next one in your group is teamwork. You don't have to raise your hand because sometimes it makes people uncomfortable. How many times have you been in a meeting where someone in front of the bosses has said to you, when they're reporting on something, I've been trying to get Sally to do that forever. And you happen to be Sally. I'm sorry if Sally's in the room. I had to pick a name. And you're like going, you're Sally. You're sitting there going, you waited till now to do this? It's kind of management by ambush. Let me explain to you how to fix that. The way I usually do that is, we've seen this happen in meetings. She's laughing because we've both seen this happen. The way I do that is I look and go, yes, I'm Sally. How long have you had this problem? Oh, for months. Does your phone work? Yes. I would have appreciated had you called me 2 months ago when you were having this problem, rather than bringing it up now and taking everybody else's time with it. If we could meet offline, we can probably solve this issue. And I'm really shocked that you've waited this long to do that. And there's some people in the room going, ooh, I'm using that. My purpose of telling you that is people should not mistake kindness for weakness, and you should be a kind person. You don't have to be a weak person. You don't have to be mean, but you also have to establish parameters and say, you know what? We're going to work together, and the way to work together is not to do things by ambush. It's to work together. Does that make sense? So how about this one now? Let's say that Sally is not necessarily a bad person, but does something that's not a good idea, and you've probably seen people that do this. Have you ever done a puzzle? One of them puzzles? I hate them. I really don't, honey. I just don't like them a lot. You always do the outside edge first, right? Right, because it's got the little, you can figure out the edges. That's what I do because I can't figure out anything else. So, at that point, once I get the outside edge, I'm done. I've lost interest. I'm finished. But anyways, when you're doing the puzzle, And let's think about this. Work projects and creativity and those kinds of things, aren't they kind of like a puzzle? We're putting the pieces together of a puzzle. How many times do you know people that takes their piece like this and they stand over in the corner? And they wait till everybody's done. And then they walk up and go. And everybody's like going, what's the picture? What's it going to be? What is it? What are we doing? Where are we going? And they walk in and they go, dun-ta-dum, I have my piece. Ha-ha. And they set their piece down because they want to be the hero. Superheroes. I'm not picking on that. My point of saying that to you is, don't hold your piece to the last second. Play your piece early. Show that you're a team player and show that you have knowledge. And here's the next question. Why are there people, probably in this room, I'm sorry, that think they should surround their people surround themselves with people that aren't as smart as them because it makes them look better? I'm just the opposite. I want the smartest people I can get on my team because if they look good, I look good. If they look bad, I look bad. I want people that are smarter than me. Everybody that works with me is smarter than me. I have 5 doctors that work for me. They are superbly intelligent. I mean, these folks are like out there. I got one doctor, he's a doctor. And then he's a forensic doctor. I got another one that's a doctor. And then he's a phlebotomist. And then he's a forensic pathologist. And then he's a pathologist on top of the forensic pathologist. And he's a PhD. The guy's really cool. Not real good on people. You know, like live people. Because all those 5 folks, they're great folks. But the truth is, if they liked people who talked, they'd be in a hospital or working in the office somewhere going, how are you today? You got a little pain? Let me talk to you about that. Instead, they like the fact that when they walk up to the table, quiet. No complaints. So that's why I'm here. Think about it. I'm just the opposite of them. So I've surrounded myself with smart people, and they've surrounded themselves with a gabby guy. Works out perfect. It's a nice balance. But do you understand what I'm trying to say? I don't know why people feel this need to, I hold all this, it's mine, nobody can have it. We're on the team wins. Let's get together on that. 10 minutes, is that what you told me? Okay, good, because I'm almost done. We've talked about teamwork, we're going to talk about integrity. It won't take long about this one. Here's the deal about integrity. It's not what you do when everybody's watching, it's what you do when nobody's watching. And when you wake up in the morning, if you look yourself in the eye and you look yourself in the mirror, in the eye, I challenge every one of you in this room today that when you get up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, combing your hair. If you have hair, I don't have hair. That's why I had to use brush your teeth because some people, whatever it is that you're doing, when you look in the mirror, I want you to do more than look and see if you got a bat in the cave. You know what that means? A bug in the garage? I want you to look in the mirror and look into your own eyes. And it's going to be uncomfortable the first few times you do it. And my question to you is, do you like what you see? And if you don't, change it. We had a conversation in the meeting yesterday, in the presentation yesterday I was talking about, and here was the question. Can you change your behavior? The answer is yes, you can, and I want you to know, because in marketing, remember I said get a marketing class? They change behavior all the time. Why do you think McDonald's runs a special on coffee for 30 days? Because after 30 days, you've set a new habit. You'll stop there whether it's $1 or $2 because now you stop there every day for your coffee. That's what marketing teaches us. So if you can change, I don't care what your age is, and you can make a difference, and all you got to do is set a goal. A goal unwritten is a goal undone, so you want to put it up somewhere. Somebody said, if you want to be happy with a group and greet everybody in the morning, hey, how you doing? How's it going? How you doing? How you doing? Which is a good thing to do, by the way. You can't hide in your office all the time and do one of these. People want to know what you do. They want to know that you care. They want to feel connected to you. And if you're not doing that, and that's one of the things that's your goal, you write that down. You say, good morning to everybody, and you put it on the dash of your car. So when you come in, that's the last thing you see. You put it on the door, you lock it. You put it on the inside of where you hang your coat. Where am I at? That's integrity. Ownership. Buck stops right here. Difference between elected and appointed. I had an elected tell me one time, if people don't like what I do, I tell them they can call a county commissioner. That sent me into the high-speed wobbles. That's the last thing I want somebody to do. You think I want to go, you don't like what I do, call a county commissioner, click. About 20 minutes later, ring, ring. Commissioner so-and-so's office. What do you need? The commissioner would like to see you right away. I want to avoid that if all possible. It's not that I don't like them folks, but they're paying me to do a job, and I want people, when they call me, to know the buck stops at my desk. I make the decisions, I'll make the corrections, and I'll fix the problems. Everybody good with that? Okay. That's the way it works. So ownership, you got to own it. And quit trying to pass it off on somebody else. Now, that doesn't mean somebody else does all the work, and then what do? You come in and go, look what I did. That's not the kind of ownership we want. What's the ownership we want? Look what we did. I always try to make things like not I, but we, us, our organization. Okay, I think I'm about done. I want you to have fun and enjoy what you do. How do you have fun? 2 days ago at our office, we had chili cook-off. Yeah. It was good. Some of the meat was questionable. No, I was just kidding. I'm kidding. But we had a chili cook-off last week. And we're going to have, Cinco de Mayo is big at our place. We have Halloween parties. One of the other things we do is, and nobody's required to do this. This year we went to Opportunity Village a couple of times and worked. So we try to do things outside the office where we give to others. Went out there and froze our little whatevers off. But you know what? Had a great time. Great time helping other folks. What I'm trying to tell you is that you got to have fun at what you do. You got to make it fun, and the only way you can do that is you control it. You control your environment. Don't let other people do it. Have fun at what you do. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your work. I honestly, sincerely believe we cannot continue to have this villainization of the government employee. And the way we change that attitude is we show them that we are the best at what we do. We are your help when you need it. You come to us. We make sure that people get the help that they need. We make sure that we don't pass the buck somewhere else. And we make sure that the people around us feel valued and that the citizens that we serve feel that we value them as customers. My wish for you today is that you not only have a safe day, you have a happy day, and you always have a smile on your face. Have a great day, everybody.
Would you mind fielding some questions?
I'd be more than happy to field questions. Yes, I've been bald for a number of years. And I actually shaved it originally because I got tired of paying $20 for a haircut for this much hair. But anyway, I'm sorry. Any questions? None? Really?
Sure.
You're supposed to have some shills in the room that ask at least one question. None?
When are we going to see a reality show about the war?
Since you asked, he asked, when are we going to see it? What's the question? I'll text you back in a moment. You can follow me on Twitter at Las Vegas _Coronor. That's actually true. I just started a Twitter account. Only because I'm up at the legislature for the next little bit. I'm going back again, so I'm living north and south right now. I flew down for this. The question was, when are we going to see a reality show? They are filming the pilot Friday and Saturday of this week. At our house, there will be a crime scene that they're staging. She's not involved. Just lay out there, dear, honestly. For those of you that don't know, I'm married to Bennett Vega Murphy. She's my wife. She's over here. Hello, Bennett. You should do more than that. You should go say, I'm so sorry for you. That would help. She would appreciate that. No, so they're filming right now. They're in pilot, and they're still working on a name, and they'll be filming they're going to literally follow us for 48 hours, Friday and Saturday, both at work and some stuff at home. They've already filmed a bunch of private, when I say private stuff, like stuff with us and the grandkids, and so it's kind of a show that's about the office and about us and some of those things. And so that's in works right now, and nobody has a question about man. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what's going on. Any other questions before you go? Yes. It's being filmed by a production company called North South Productions. You notice I'm starting to say a lot now because I don't know. There are 2 or 3 channels that are, I don't know if I want to call making bids for it, but that are looking at it to air it. My goal, if we should ever have a reality show, would be that different from Honey Boo Boo Child, Duck Dynasty, although those guys are amazing, and Swamp People, is that if we're speaking, we won't have to have subtitles. You'll actually know what we're saying, since we're speaking our native tongue. You know, that would be one of my goals. Any other questions? Anybody? That may be difficult. I do have a list of friends who have volunteered to be dead people, and I had to call one of them yesterday and go, they need a dead guy. Do you want to be the dead guy? And he went, you bet I do. So I've got a friend of mine who's playing the dead guy, but they're bringing in a lady to play the dead woman. So anyways, yes, I'm sorry. Wow. The question was, what is the biggest lesson I've learned working for government? I don't want to be corny, but I'm going to try to. You've asked me a question. I'm going to give you my honest answer. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I think I look at my brother. I'll give you this quick example. My brother is in private industry, and he's always made a boatload of money. I mean, honestly, he has. And usually most of it ran through his fingers pretty quickly. And here he's now coming to the close of his career. You know, he's getting ready to retire. I'm coming to the close of mine, so to speak, getting ready to retire in a few years. And we've compared notes. And I am so far and away better off. And I didn't take the job because of that, because of the benefits. I did it because I wanted to be a policeman. I thought it was the coolest job in the world, and that's where I started at. And now I think the job I have is the coolest job in the world. So I'm honestly really grateful for that, for the opportunities that it's given me. And I mean that sincerely. So that would be my answer. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Moose is staying home. He's the other dead. No, I'm just kidding. Moose will be there. He's a part of the show in some respects. The kids are, but depending on how this all shakes out. But no, Moose stays for the weekend. The big deal about Moose is getting him up. If you can get him up, you can get him going. He's all right. I should text him, I think. Any other questions? Listen, you've been a great audience. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. My Twitter handle? I don't ever, yes. It's LV_Coronor. Coronor. Coronor. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a great day, everybody.